All right, our next speaker is Violet White. And Violet is going to be talking about the iRODS server and configuration and implementing live reloading of the configuration. Take it away.
Hi. I worked on the configuration reloading issue this summer. So it's my second year working on iRODS. I've been working on C++ for code for considerably longer than that. I have 3 cats that relish the spot in front of the keyboard, and I take 0.35 milligrams of estradiol valerate a week for my transition. Okay. So the reason we want to be able to do this, to reload the configuration instead of restarting the server, is that it doesn't interrupt the long-running workloads. Apache server does it, and it really does provide a much better experience when you're debugging your configuration. Okay, so what we got out of it is, well, achieve the goal. It doesn't interrupt in-flight requests. It triggers an event system to send information to plugins about configuration updates. And it also happens to speed up test delay queue by several seconds. The event system is very simple. It is based around passing JSON patch actions through into hooks. As you can see, there are 2 different kinds of hooks. The all keys one, which catches every event, and the /advanced/delay, which only captures events related to that. And while that's how it's used in the server, it can also be used in the client applications for similar purposes. There were problems in implementing it. First, the usage pattern of the server properties object was not quite what I had expected. Instead of being a pure key value store that only reflects the configuration files, it also carries information that is generated during runtime. And my first implementation failed to take account of that. After that, multi-threading became a problem because it created issues with consistency that required some work to fix. This is a rough diagram of that. And as it turns out, making the server properties thread safe was enough to make it permit me to make it consistent. The second thing that I worked on was refactoring a single function to use boost process. Popen is an old, so the function, as you might be able to tell from the name, of get script output single line, gets a single line of output from a script that the server runs. The old implementation used popen, which is a very old API in POSIX that is that uses C-style error handling, which is not ideal for a number of reasons. Boost process, on the other hand, allows us to handle standard error and also gives us much more specific errors regarding starting the program. Yeah, it captures standard error and returns. and returned codes to the logs, which means that you can now see inside of it more reliably. Exit codes are now entirely distinct from the errors starting the script, so that you don't get the situation where a program returns -1 and popen returns -1, and they decide it thinks that popen failed, whereas the program returned a different error code than it expected. What I learned from this process was that, well, refactoring can be easy when the scope is sufficiently limited, and that housekeeping is worth keeping up on. Are there any questions?
All right, thanks, Valid. So I guess my question is there anything we could have done in the server that could have made implementing the JSON events easier?
Honestly, the server, I used to complain about the code, but honestly, now that I've gotten to work with it more, I had very little trouble adding the event system. Once I sorted out all of the problems with loading the configuration file itself.
Is there anything that you would like? Is there any ideas that you had about future enhancements to this JSON events library that you implemented?
Yeah, if there's a usage for it, then it might be worthwhile to allow you to unhook the functions. But I haven't really come up with a design for that yet.
Gotcha. Great.
I have a question as well. We have considered making iRODS a bit more cloud friendly, in the sense that maybe all the servers either share the same configuration or somehow learn configuration from each other, so they don't have to be independently configured. Do you see this as maybe being helpful in that regard, or are they kind of independent? Would this help us get there?
Potentially, I suppose. I think you would have to add in some way for servers to indicate to each other that they need to reload the configuration.
Right.
That's the main thing that you would have to add. But I believe that I kept the part which allows it to reload the configuration from a remote source. So hopefully that should still work.
Oh, I see. So signal that you should go get it, rather than just saying, I have given you a new thing, go reload it.
Yeah, it's it'll reload it from remote if that's where it came from.
Right. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Are there any other questions? All right.